Well, if you haven't noticed, a lot of the formats and the tournaments that are coming up over the next month and a half to close out the year of 2024, well, they're in the Blitz format. Yeah, I know, shocking, right? Because Blitz is one of those formats that felt like it was sort of put off to the side for a large portion of this year, and now it's back in force. And not only is it back in force, but it is going to be receiving some tweaks. Now, before those tweaks come to pass, and before we know what those are actually going to entail, I wanted to share with you my learnings from diving deep into the Blitz format. I'm going to tell you some heroes you should keep an eye out for, and if there are changes to the format, this will help inform you as to why those changes are taking place and how it will affect the format. And also keep in mind that we are approaching the holiday season, and if you would like to buy into a Flesh and Blood Advent calendar that I put together every year, head on down into the link in the description, check out the Discord, hop in and pick up one of them. I'm down to like the last half of the batch, and I'm going to be shipping them out and putting them together and shipping them out here soon. So if you'd like to join me in getting together all of our stuff and opening packs and things like that together as just a group of friends, feel free to check out the link in the description. The first hero I want to talk about is arguably the best hero in this format right now. Tell me in a comment below if you disagree, but shockingly, it's Data Doll. Data Doll has gone to 11, full throttle, maximum velocity. This is Data Doll right now. Not with those cards, of course, but absolutely pedal to the metal. Not with that card either. But crazy, going crazy, and it's all because of Cerebellum Processor that she received. This combined with just the ability, and I should even point out that there's the what are those new equipment pieces called? They have the same title. Hold on, I'll figure it out. Industry, that's the one. Heavy Industry Gear Shift and Heavy Industry Surveillance. These two pieces of equipment in concert with Cerebellum Processor. And some people are trying to mess around with Heavy Industry Power Plant, but it doesn't really make that much sense. You don't need it. You're really playing Gear Shift and you're playing Surveillance. And these two things make Data Doll go absolutely insane, and she can put out so much damage just on the face of banishing all of these very powerful items that she basically puts you on a clock. And really, funnily enough, she's the only hero that only gets 3 cards in her hand at any given time, but really that's not the case anymore because Cerebellum Processor found off the top gives her a 4-card hand. She was always hamstrung by the fact that she couldn't really do this back and forth interaction, and now that's not the case because she can if she needs to, and oftentimes she just doesn't need to because she pushes so much damage. Yes, this is a hero to have your eye on, because if you're looking for a hero that can just win the game turn over turn with overwhelming force thanks to these powerful items, Data Doll's it. But here's the cool thing about Blitz. She, in my opinion, is the best hero in the format, but there's a lot of other heroes that are either as good or just a shade back from this. Maybe not as good. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I do think she's the best, but just one shade down and then maybe 2 shades after that are a bunch of other heroes. And in my opinion, the second best hero in the format, and I could be proven wrong and she could just be the best, is none other than Blaze Firemind. I have put so much time into this hero. I have contributed 160 games over the past 11 days. that's kind of a lot. That's a bit excessive. But I literally have this all on my deck list. Thanks to Fabrary that they kind of keep track of it all for me. I have put that many games into this hero. And I will tell you this, if you know how to play Wizard, and if you know how to set yourself up with success on turn cycles over the course of a game, this hero wins early and this hero wins late. There's really not a lot of okay, I'm just going to set full fatigue, I'm going to play AB4 and keep everything in front of me. It's not really possible. Not really possible. And then there's I'm just going to aggro it down. That is possible, but depending on how you build your deck for Blaze, she's just the best. I never thought that I would fall in love with a Wizard deck harder than I did Blitz Kano. I am officially saying I like Blaze more. I think she's a lot more interesting. Well, I don't know about a lot more interesting. She's so much fun. I'll put it that way. And she is very powerful. She asks questions that not a lot of heroes really can answer very well. And she makes it to where if you are a very good player, and you have to be a very good player that reads like other players' game plans, if you're a very good player, you are rewarded by playing this hero to a high level. And she is, in my opinion, the second best hero in the format. But she does have bad matchups. She has matchups that are difficult. One of those matchups is against Datadol. And that's something I can go into at a deeper level if you want. I was thinking about putting a like full and complete Blaze guide out there. So if you'd be interested in me sharing all my learnings with you over the course of my 200 plus games, in fact, I'm just going to check how many games do I have on Blaze in my current list. I built like 5 lists, and now I've been playing the same list for 212 games with a 79% win rate. Yeah, so if you want me to share my learnings with you, leave a comment down below. I'll make a separate video, and I may even make it like a full-on guide that you can pick up and run with and try to use to figure the hero out more. But she does have other bad matchups too, matchups that are difficult to play into. And one of those is another very good hero in this format. That's Vynnset. Vynnset has a lot going for her. One, she can put out just massive damage turns, and she has a lot of very small and incremental increases in value to the deck. Like, I've seen a couple of Vynsets now, including several of the very powerful cards from Rosetta that are just doing work in the deck that allow you to, yes, you're playing a red line version of the list, but you can just do some insane things very quickly. I've seen some people that are playing a little bit more just like build up an OTK on like one turn. And I don't mean that from like a rune chant standpoint. I just mean it from like they're playing multiple giant attacks, kind of like what Vynnset did about a year ago when Yonji won the Battle Hardened on Vynnset. Very similar to that style, but both are functioning to do very well overall. And again, it goes back to the idea of split damage is difficult for heroes to deal with. And she is doing quite well right now. I would put her towards the top tiers. If we're doing like a full-on tier list, she would be like A tier in that zone because she has the capacity to push a lot of damage. And another hero that gives Blaze a bad matchup to some degree, it's definitely a polarizing matchup, is one that has really come out of nowhere over the past month or two, and that's Dromai. Funnily enough, Dromai has really been picking up steam, and it's not the more aggressive leaning list of Dromai. It is the more defensive, not even big dragon. It's just like the mid-range dragon package where you run like 2 sinks, 2 fates, 2 oasis, 2 sand cover, and just keep everything in front of you, and then build your board, and then just ride your board to victory. That works in this format. Now, Zen is coming back, and it would be interesting to find out if Dromai's presence encourages Zen to be picked up more. And of course, Zen coming back without the use of all like bonds of ancestry and things like that means he is going to take a step back like he did in Classic Constructed. But he still could be good enough to just be in like the A to B tier zone. And I could be underselling him again. I underrated him the first time, and maybe I'm doing it again. But Dromai is actually coming on strong. I would put her as one of the best decks in the format. And I would say that because I haven't tested this, but theory dictates that she might actually have the capacity to fatigue a Datadol. Which sounds crazy because Datadol has 3 intellect and is like burning half of their deck so quickly. But they put out so much freaking damage off of the back of, like the Hadron Colliders and Teklo Pounders and things like that. And then, of course, Boom Grenades. That there are these big, like, 15 damage turns, and it's just like 1 attack. So if Dromai plays that more defensive style, I think she has the capacity to fatigue that deck. And she has the silver bullet into the Blaze matchup, because Blaze is not really running anything to remove dragons. Yes, you could run poppers, but that's kind of a little bit like suspect. So Dromai can just play Thamai, my spoiler card from Uprising, and just like ride that to victory. So in a really interesting spot is Dromai, and one that I would keep my eye on, because if you're a fan of Dromai, she hasn't really ever been that great in the Blitz format. She might be great again now. Now, a nice little counter to her are the next two heroes I'm going to talk about. One of them has been, since the release at the beginning of this year, sort of a mainstay in the format, kind of playing in the periphery of like A tier, and that's Victor. Victor came out and like splashed right at the beginning of this year, and has not necessarily shown up and shown out as much, but I think he's still very powerful and has a lot of tools at his disposal to deal with some of these heroes. He might have the capacity to go toe-to-toe with Datadol. I'm actually not sure on that matchup. If Datadol kind of comes out swinging, I think he can wall up with like equipment and things like that to actually be okay, and then maybe punish with some big attacks. He also has the ability to just play like a 0-for-4 that gives him value and pretty much always win that clash against Datadol. He has poppers for Dromai, so he has the capacity to play into Dromai, even though I do think Dromai playing really well can just go back to what they did against Oldhim back in the day and kind of play that style. But, you know, Victor's a lot more aggressive than Oldhim was, so maybe not giving her the space. The downside to him is that I can't remember the last time I lost a game to him playing as Blaze. And yes, I've played multiple games. I've played a lot of games against Victor trying the aggressive approach where they try to kill you very fast, and then trying this full defensive approach where they're like, cool, AB, everything you throw. It just doesn't work. Blaze is too good if you know how to play her. And I think that's the key. You have to know how to play her because you can just like, oops, I lost the game because I got too greedy as Blaze. But Victor, that has his one kind of bad matchup, which is why I'm looking at him going, he's good into most things. Not so sure about that. And the last hero I want to talk about is Arachne Solitary Confinement. This is a hero that, thanks to a lot of very powerful cards from Part the Mistveil, got very good in Blitz very quickly. He immediately rised to the A tier zone, in my opinion, sat at A tier, and then because Zen just came on too strong, wasn't able to make any headway after that. But now that Zen has taken a step back and returned to the format, of course, I think Arachne Solitary Confinement's in a pretty solid spot, especially if they get to go like first against a Datadol and try to put the pressure on. I think there's a lot of like counterplay now that Arachne can do, because just being able to play one attack, threaten these attack reactions, your opponent blocks it out, has go again, play a second attack, threaten the same attack reactions, means you're getting value along the lines there. And really, he can just go like Razor's Edge. Oh, this is a simple like 3 attack thing you didn't want to block. Yeah, it's 9. Now you're taking half of your life. That is a very powerful effect that Arachne Solitary Confinement has access to. And I think there's a lot of space here. Here's the crazy part about the Blitz format. I've already talked for like 10 minutes on all of these heroes. There's a lot more heroes that I think have the capacity to really do some stuff. That's the format. It's full of very powerful things, but none of them right now feel too powerful that it's just like completely one-sided. And that's what's pretty cool about the format. So let me know what you think about Blitz in a comment below. I think it's worth your look, and it's going to be really fun to play in this format going through the end of the year. If you enjoy this type of video, make the number go to another number by pressing the subscribe button, and of course, support the channel via Patreon or buy an advent calendar, because I'm running out of those and I'm going to be shipping them out very soon. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.